Shine with Kendell Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
All right, everybody, welcome to Shine with Kendell Lenice. I gave you the short intro today because we are going to be talking about faith over fear today. A lot of people talk about faith over fear. You see the shirts. I remember I had a shirt about it. But are you really listening to what you're saying? Faith over fear. You know, it's more than just a t-shirt or a hashtag or something cute to say. Faith over fear, sometimes fear will paralyze you from doing what you want to do in life or being who you are in life because you're so fearful. And that's what my guest and I are going to talk about today. Before we get started on the topic, I hope everyone had an amazing week thus far and looking forward to a great weekend. Whenever you're listening to this podcast, Shine with Kendell Lenice is for the people. As you heard, real talk for real people. And as a life coach, I like to bring all kinds of topics to you and have amazing guests. We are in season 8 of Shine with Kendell Lenice. And I just was talking to my guest like, wow. She was like, where have I been? And I'm thinking like, dang, I have been doing this thing for quite some time. So if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I'm not sure how you stumbled upon this podcast. I'm so glad that you did, though. If you are able to rate this podcast, please do. Please leave a comment and share this subject. This is an amazing subject that people talk about all the time. And my guest and I are going to dive right into it. I hope everyone is listening with both ears because I want everybody to win. And my podcast, I call it a life podcast, not just because I'm a life coach, but we talk about real things that you can apply to your life. Yes, we have fun on this podcast. We'll laugh and be silly, but we also cry. And most importantly, we grow. So before I introduce my guest, as always, let me start with this week's Life Note. All right, it's time for this week's Life Note. All right, so if you're just tuning in for the first time, the Life Note is a quote or a saying that takes you through this show, this week, and the rest of your life. And I'm not sure who did this one. It says a quote by Richard Edgley. Don't know who he is, but I liked it. Choose faith over doubt. Choose faith over fear. Choose faith over unknown and unseen. And choose faith over pessimism. So that's this week's Life Note today. And I also have one by Nelson Mandela. So we're going to get a 2 for today. The next Life Note is, may your choices reflect your hopes, not your fears. And that's by the beautiful Nelson Mandela. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. What are some of the things that have happened this week? Let's see. Well, I don't want to talk about Will Smith or Chris Rock anymore. I believe that everyone deserves a second chance and redemption. And sometimes people act out of emotion or that was the last thing or the last straw. I don't condone violence or hitting, but I do condone growth. I do condone apologies and being man enough to admit your wrongs and to seek help and to make things, right. I don't condone talking about somebody's medical condition, alopecia. I suffer from that myself. So I think a lot got lost in the translation. Some things Chris Rock thought were funny. They weren't. Will Smith, I was like, please turn around. He didn't. But I don't cancel either one of those brothers. I think it's a growth moment, a learning experience, and time to heal from past traumas. As a life coach, that's what I'm about. I'm not about throwing nobody away. Now, if you do something heinous, and some may say hitting is heinous, but that's another thing. But if you're talking about making a mistake, everybody deserves redemption. All right, without further ado. Oh, and if you want to know more about what I think, Leroy McKenzie and I check on Shine with Kendell Lenice. The last episode, we talked about that and gave our views, and we were on separate sides of this issue. Don't want to talk about it no more. That's the last time you're going to hear me talk about it, but this is not the last time you're going to hear my guest, Miss Quiandria KeKe Willis. Welcome to Shine with Kendell Lenice.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be a part of your podcast.
Yes! Now, if you are a supporter of Kendell Lenice, you have seen KeKe on a couple of panels. We did one on colorism. We did one on, what was it? The relationships and sex. What was it? The sex.
Why people cheat.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they were all some amazing discussions.
Thank you so much. And I always call on you because I love my millennials and I love intelligent thinking people. And you are one of my favorites. So every time I have something, like, your name is like at the top of the list that I want to have you. And you're not afraid to give your views and opinions. And of course, that makes a great person and also, of course, a great guest.
I am honored. Thank you so much.
Yay! All right. So when I first asked you to be a part of this podcast, and we were talking about fear, eradicating fear, faith over fear, what was the first thing that came to your mind, KeKe?
Wow. So I would say the first thing that came to my mind are just recounting situations where I was afraid or fear kept me from doing what I wanted to do. And it also, another thing that came to my mind is where I am now, I'm not where I was before, which is a good thing. Because I'm not going to lie, fear definitely had me in a lot of areas. But once you overcome, you're grateful and you can look back and see that, wow, if I can do that or conquer that, what more can I do?
Right. So let me just talk about faith is greater than fear. If you believe,
yes,
faith is undefeated, even when it doesn't feel like it. So sometimes when you I'm fearful, but faith will always win. So let me just give this definition. So fear, the fear of the unknown. And I always, before I give the definition, I just got to say that the fear of the unknown. Most people fear the unknown. I was thinking, and I'm just thinking about this right now, KeKe. I graduated, I'm old enough to be your mama. But I graduated.
Yes.
I graduated from high school, and back in the yearbook, my quote was, "Whatever you fear, conquer it." And that was my quote, and I'm just thinking about that now as we speak. That was my quote. And I have to think about, did this 17, 18-year-old Kendell believe that, or was I speaking it to existence, or was I affirming myself? Because I just want to talk about fear real quick, and you're going to be surprised when I read this. So did you know, if you live in fear, it weakens your immune system and can cause cardiovascular damage, gastrointestinal issues such as ulcers and IBS. Did you realize that?
Wow. I definitely didn't know that.
Girl, ponder on,
wow.
Everybody listening, just ponder on that. When you practice fear, it weakens your immune system and can cause cardiovascular damage, gastrointestinal issues such as ulcers and irritable bowel syndrome, and so much more.
Wow.
So when we think that we're just fearful of something, we don't know that it's affecting our bodies.
Wow, it's a disease.
Yeah.
Fear is a disease. Wow.
So listen to this. Faith defined, and I looked in the dictionary. Faith defined is a strong belief in God, complete trust or confidence, it says, in someone or something. So we know that faith is God, but someone, when people say, well, I have faith in you, man, I know you can do it. Or I have faith in that. What do you think about that? Do you think that you can have faith in man, or do you think that it's just all about God. What do you think?
So I think that ultimately our faith should be in God. But let's take a car, for example. We get in our car to go to work. We have faith in our vehicle, something that was man-made, something that God gave someone the intellect to create. We get in our car, and we expect to make it to our destination. We have faith in this Range Rover, this Honda, that this is going to get me from point A to point B without an accident, without someone crashing into me. I'm gonna get here whole. And in the same way that I got in this car, I have faith that I'm gonna reach my destination. So I feel like people, we leave our houses with faith, and I think it's without thought. Like, we don't even, okay, yeah, I'm about to get in my car. I don't know what's gonna happen, but it's just second nature to just jump in your car and do life.
Wow.
But to me, that's a form of faith. That's faith because you depended on your car and not God's protection to get to your destination. And some don't make it to their destination, but they have faith in that car. Or even in, I think faith is in not just God, but in things too. Because we take medicine for ailments. True. We have faith that, okay, this is going to lower my blood pressure.
Oh, wow.
So faith comes in different forms, but ultimately our faith is in God because He's our source.
Yes, I love the way that you explain that. That's so true. And I'm sure that resonated with a lot of people, just even saying that way. Because sometimes, to be honest, some, people are holier than thou, and you can't have faith in anybody else. You can't have faith. But it really is the belief. Like, if you trust somebody, you do have faith in them because you trust them,
right.
And that's what it is. And I think people get it twisted that if you trust your car or if you trust your friend, then they're taking the place of God. But that's not the case, right? Right. Exactly. And even with this amazing podcast, you reached out to me and you had faith that I would show up. You know what I mean? I feel like faith is in various things. We have faith that we go to work every day expecting our check. And you never know, the business might fold. And you may not get your check, but we have faith in our supervisor. That we're not working for free. We got faith that all of this hard work is going to pay us.
Exactly. We believe in technology. We people heavily believe in technology. Everywhere we live in a technological world. So faith isn't just in God. Like, ultimately, God is our source. Yeah. But He created things and He created people for us to have faith in and to reciprocate faith to another person.
I love that. I love the way, and it's so true. I agree. Psychology Today says faith speaks the language of the heart, and it goes beyond the conscious mind. And that reminds me of, that's what you just said pretty much. Like, we don't get in the car unless you got a clunker, unless you have trouble with your car all the time. You like, Lord, please let this car get me to work or get me to my destination and home. But most of the time, people just hop in and unconsciously have faith that they're going to get there. Or even when I said, okay, hey, do you want to do my podcast? I had faith that my computer was going to work. I had faith that I would be home on time. I had faith that, my girl would say yes and do the podcast. So that is true. It's very true. And I hope that other people are looking at that differently. So listeners, listen to what KeKe is saying. You ultimately, like she said, God is your source, our source. But you still have faith in things. Medicine, if you have heart troubles, heart problems, or whatever, you are trusting God ultimately. But if you trusted God only, then you wouldn't be taking the medicine.
Exactly.
I love that.
Medicine is just a resource.
I love that. So I want to talk about 10 ways to fight your fears, KeKe. And I want to ask you if you've ever been fearful, like totally, even though you believe and you have faith, have you ever been fearful? So I was looking at nhsinformation.com and I saw 10 ways to fight your fears. It says, take time out. It's impossible to think clearly when you're flooded with fear and anxiety, which is true. 2, breathe through the panic. And as a meditation practitioner, I'm all about breathing. You attended one of my virtual classes, girl.
Oh, yes. Oh, we definitely breathe.
A couple of them.
Of our breath,
yes.
Sure.
Because I think that does, when you really pay attention to your breaths, and if you pay attention, you'll start to see how soothing it is. And you'll start to say, okay, wait a minute, let me show gratitude. Let me think. So your focus is totally on something different. Also, like I said with my quote in high school, face your fears. Whatever you fear, conquer it. Number 4, imagine the worst. It says, okay, like, because some people are like, oh my God, if I don't get this job, and they're fearful when they go to the interview. And it's like, think about the worst. The worst thing is you don't get it.
Right. You try again.
You try again. Right. Number 5, look at the evidence. So when they say that, they're saying basically, look at everything that you're talking about. Look at the evidence. Is it even that bad, or is it what you're hyping it up in your head to be? Because you might be fearful and it ain't that deep.
Right.
You know? And number 6, don't try to be perfect. I love that. Because some people, because, you're taught to, hey, be perfect. What do they say? Progress, what's they say? What is it? To be perfect. Because I don't say it, so it's not even in my brain when they say, oh, practice makes perfect. No, it's progress makes perfect. And it's not even perfect. Progress makes progress, really. It's not even, I don't like that practice makes perfect, because sometimes you're just not going to be perfect. And what is perfection anyway? Who cares about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Number 7 is, I love it. Visualize a happy place. So if you're fearful, right. Or even if you're fearful of flying, or fearful of starting a business, just think about the happiness. Number 8, I'll just stop at number 8, and I want to hear from you, KeKe, is to talk about your fear. And that's what I want you to do. Has there ever been a time where in recent times that you were fearful, you didn't know why, or you discovered why, and how did you respond to your fear?
So what comes to mind, well, actually 2 things come to mind, something in the past and something in the present. The thing from the past was getting my real estate license. And I was really, really afraid to do that. And I realized that I was afraid to succeed. And I think that's the issue with a lot of people who want to start a business or want to go to school to do something new, that you fear the result. Like, you don't know what the results may be. You want the results to be something good, of course, but you don't know about the in-between. So, and then something present would be this show. Like, I was very inspired. I'm still inspired by you and how you do, you did your Facebook Lives and you invite out different guests and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is something I always wanted to do, but I was afraid of rejection.
Oh.
And rejection can definitely, not just fear, but rejection can, like, paralyze you and, like, stop you from doing what you should be doing or what you want to do, because you're afraid of what, or you're fearful of what people may say, or not being received, or not having followers, or, just the whole logistics, the whole, all of that comes with. But last year I was like, I need to do this. Like, this has been on my heart to do. People are doing it and it's working.
Tell them what you're talking about, because they're probably like, what is she talking about? Tell them what you're talking about.
Yeah, so what I'm talking about is we, myself and my co-host Nicole, launched a show called Truth Talks TV. And I was afraid. Like, I was scared the whole process, even going up to the point of actually recording, like being in the studio, recording the episodes. Fear. I was afraid. But what helped me was the end result, thinking of the end result and keeping in mind the after effects of people needing to hear what we have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's, keeping in mind that it's not about us, it's about other people. And so when you're afraid, you really have to think about, how's this benefiting me? Am I progressing? Am I moving forward? Or am I stuck in fear?
That's good, KeKe.
And it's not easy. You know, I'm not saying that, oh, yeah, I just jumped out there. It's a process.
Yeah, I agree. So what do you think about, because sometimes, you know how sometimes there are sayings and, you know, people just say the sayings. And I'm going to quote even Will Smith's book. I read it 3 times even before all of this because I was very inspired by it. There's a lot of gems and jewels in there, and everybody knows that Will Smith, he will drop some jewels. And he said his father used to tell him 99% is the same as 0. And that's how he ran his life. 99% of 0. I'm going hard or going home. I'm doing that. And he said his therapist in recent years was like, that's stupid. 99% is not 0. You know, it's not the same as 0. And he said that was the first time he heard himself say that. And was like, she's right. That ain't even, but we say things, and we say things like fear, false evidence of appearing real. And that's the acronym for fear. But then you'll have people out there like, wait a minute, it's not false because I was really fearful.
Thank you. Exactly.
You know,
it is a very real thing.
Yeah. And it's like, and I've said it before. I've said it on shows before. False evidence of appearing real. Then I had to think about it. And I was like, but wait a minute. It's not false evidence. I get it that ultimately you can't have faith and fear at the same time. You have to choose. Which will you choose, to be faithful or fearful? So you can have the power to choose, but it doesn't mean that fear is not a real thing. Because anxiety comes with fear, and heavy breaths comes with fear, apprehension comes with fear, and people are deathly fearful. Like, some people will not get on the highway, let alone the airplane. Are you kidding me?
Yes.
Some people are fearful after an accident or never having an accident. Like, I'm scared to get on the road. I'm really fearful to get on the highway. I'm fearful to be hanging up in the sky in a plane. Like, people are fearful. So I wouldn't tell someone who is so fearful, like, girl, that's false. Or, man, that's false evidence of appearing real. It is real to them. Not. So talk about that for a moment. What do you think about that statement?
So that statement, I've heard it a lot growing up in church. And as you said, we gravitate towards things that we hear often, like these cliches. We wear it on a hat, we put it on a shirt or a hoodie, and we don't even realize what we're saying, what we're speaking over ourselves. We don't realize how powerful words really are. And a fear for me may not be that fear for you, but it's still real. And I feel like people don't show grace to those who are afraid, because I may be afraid to get on a roller coaster, but I have a friend that loves roller coasters, but they don't understand that I have a fear of heights. So you shouldn't shame someone for fearing them, but you can coach them through, because we're supposed to progress. We're supposed to come out of fear and not be stuck, but you shouldn't shame anybody, because it's real for you. Yeah. You know, it's my fear, like it's real for me or whoever. It's real. And so it's not false evidence. I think the evidence of fear is being counterproductive.
That's good.
So if someone who is fearful, you think about a court case, or someone robbed the bank and you have evidence against them. So, you know, our crime may be fear. It's there, it's present. We're afraid. We don't want to progress forward. And the evidence is that we didn't move forward. Like, we're stuck in life.
Come on with the acronym. You better come on with that analogy, girl.
Look, that just came. Okay?
Come on, analogy.
I'm just
the
saying,
evidence.
okay?
The evidence shows that that fear did keep them stuck, because they didn't pursue.
Yes.
I love
that's
it.
The evidence.
They didn't fly.
But there's redemption. There's redemption for the crime. Okay, and we're all guilty. Like, we're all
Come on.
Nobody on this planet can say that I've never been afraid before.
Yeah.
Now for me, I feel like now I'm in a place where I don't want anything to defeat me. So I used to be afraid of fire. And one day I was like, my family be grilling, okay? My sister, my mom, they get out there and hook that grill up. They use the charcoals and the lighter.
They play no games.
They just be hooking it up. And I love grilled food. However, I was afraid of the grill. And so one day I was like, okay, I'm going to try to light this grill. I'm not going to be afraid of fire, because that's what it was. I was afraid of fire. And I was like, I'm going to conquer this fear. Now, this was maybe 5 to 6 years ago. And I don't like grilling because I'm not a fan of smoke in my face, but I conquered my fear.
See?
So if someone was to be like, oh, KeKe, can you turn the grill on? If somebody asked me, yeah, I may be like a little hesitant, but I'm not afraid anymore. I'm going to go out there and do what I need to do. So, and I'm not saying it's easy like that for other people, but I feel like I'm in a place where I don't want anything to defeat me. I want to conquer my fear and basically give the enemy or fear itself a black eye. Because,
come on, black eye.
You didn't conquer me.
Come on, black eye. Fear gets a black eye, right? That's the quote. Fear gets a black eye because no. You don't want a black eye and you don't want fear. And the thing is that fear is a real thing. But, however, nevertheless, you can't allow fear to stop you from doing what you're doing. Now, I have been fearful in different things, but I don't let it stop me. I push through the fear. And I understand that everybody can push through the fear, but everybody's that point of fear is different, or how long it's going to take them to push through the fear. Where I might push through the fear in an hour, it might take somebody 2 weeks, 2 years, 5 years. So it depends. So, and like you said, I love what you said, like you can't shame somebody. Like even when I go, I've spoken in front of thousands of people, like literally on the stage. But before I go out, I'm like fearful. My stomach is in knots. I'm like, oh Lord, am I going to say what I want to say? And then I get out there and totally forget that I had the fear. But so I push through it. I'm never going to not experience something because of fear. Now, if I'm deathly afraid, that might be something different. But I do things scared. Like I zip lined years ago. Honey, I screamed through the whole zip line from the front to the back, but I didn't allow it to stop me.
You did it.
Let me tell you something. KeKe, even climbing up the ladder, my heart was beating so fast. I saw all these little kids doing it. I was like, come on, Kendell, you a grown woman. Like, you could do it. But I was so nervous. I was so fearful, even climbing up on the stairs, because the stairs are like rickety because they're like floating back and forth. Then when you get on the platform, it's like going back and forth. I was fearful. But I was like, I want to experience zip line. Now, I wasn't doing it over the Grand Canyon or nothing like that, nothing crazy, but I wanted to do it. And I knew if that was something I wanted to do, then I was just going to have to do it scared. I screamed the whole way through, and it was exhilarating, and I was fearful, but I still did it. It could be something small like that. Or that might be huge to someone who might be afraid of heights, or pushing through fear to be a real estate agent, or pushing through a fear to be this phenomenal host that you are, because your show is amazing. So y'all make sure y'all support that. At the end, we'll allow KeKe, you can tell them all about it and when they can watch. But have you ever, KeKe, been to the point where fear just totally shut you down? And you was like, I'm not going to do it. I'll come back around in a year or two, but I ain't doing it.
Yes, absolutely. And that would be getting my real estate license. So when I graduated high school in 2008.
Ooh! Wait a minute. That's all right. I don't feel my age, but go ahead.
It's long ago for me. I mean, it seems like such a long time ago now.
I mean, it is, though. It's not around the corner. So it is pretty long, but, you already know when I graduated from high school, so that's why. But anyways.
Yes. So when I was preparing to graduate, I was like, okay, I don't know. I was very fascinated with houses and, just the whole dynamics and concept of real estate. So I was like, I want to get my license. I want to be a realtor. I want to show families houses. I want to help people to, make their dreams come true and to move into their dream home. So I had a conversation with a lady who we knew, and she was a very seasoned realtor. And so when I told her, I was like, oh, I want to be a real estate agent. And so she was like, you can't do that. You can't afford to do that. And those words, like,
wait a minute.
I was already afraid.
Oh, yeah. Lady.
She said, her exact words were, you can't afford to do that. You can't do that.
But first of all, let me just pause for a second. I'm not trying to cut you off as my beautiful guest, but that right there, speaking poison into someone's life, I don't like that. Mm-hmm. Like, first of all, she don't know what your purse looks like, your pocketbook looks like, what your pockets look like. Mm-hmm. Secondly, she doesn't know who you have backing you. She doesn't know the power of God. She doesn't know that your resilience and who you are, you could do anything, be anything you want. And those are dream killers that speak poison into your life. So if you're listening right now, and if you have somebody speaking that into your life, the best way you can handle them is to do what they think you can't and beyond. Be successful. Exactly. And it's not about proving them wrong. It's about showing them how dope and how fearless you are. But go ahead. That bothered me. I don't like that.
Yeah. And so, and unfortunately, like, I wish that I had allowed that statement to motivate me, but I literally allowed it to paralyze me. And I was just overcome by fear because I'm like, what is she talking about? What does she mean? Like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to do this. So this was 2008. Let's fast forward to 2018. 10 years later, I'm like, I'm getting my real estate license. I don't care what anybody says. I'm going to try. And whether it goes well or don't, at least I know I tried. I cannot operate in fear. I want to have multiple streams of income, and this is one of the incomes that I want to have. So that's when fear was broken, and those word curses dissolved, and I got my license.
Yes!
License registered. Yes. Yep. So I would say that it took me 10 years to do it, but I did it. And
yes.
Thank God.
But that's so inspirational.
It doesn't matter how long it takes you to do something, as long as you do it.
Speak on it.
If you can try, if you can, dust yourself off and just jump out there, because you never know. Like, one of the biggest problems is fear of success, like being afraid that, oh, maybe this might work. Just that whole fear of being successful. And that's a problem, because you'll never know what you can do or your full potential if you don't allow yourself to do, or at least try.
Let me tell you something, KeKe. You inspired somebody out there, because people are very fearful. And if you hear, listener, she waited 10 years because someone paralyzed her, by speaking poison into her life and had her question herself. That's what happens when you're already fearful and then someone co-signs that fear. Then that makes you doubt who you are and whose you are. Like, well, wait a minute, maybe that person is right. But you have to think about, maybe that person doesn't want to see you win, or they feel like you may be competition, or they feel like, that crabs in a barrel mentality for whatever reason, like, hey, you know what? I see something in her and she'll probably be a dope realtor, and let me speak poison into their lives. And some people do it unconsciously, because they're not used to supporting other people's dreams, because maybe she didn't have, or he didn't have enough money. They're going to put their fears of certain things on you. But, I love the fact that you still push through, and it doesn't matter how long it takes. It matters, if this is something you really want. KeKe, speak to that person out there that's fearful to maybe go after the job that they want, or they're fearful to walk in their gifts or purposes. What would you tell that man or woman, or girl or boy?
I would tell that person, if you're listening, and thank you for listening, and I hope that we're helping you. I would tell you to just think about the end result. Think about your goal, like your purpose, your why. Why do you want to start the business? Why do you want to go back to school? And think about the benefit of it. Because, of course, it's great to have education. It's great to have multiple streams of income. It benefits you. It benefits your family. Mm-hmm. And think about an achievement, like having something to not showboat, but something to be pleased about. that people will celebrate you and your accomplishment, because it's a great feeling when you walking across the stage with your degree, or when you're signing your papers for your license, or when you establishing your business with whatever state you're in, and that income is coming. Just do it. Just go forth, because at the end of the day, you will never know unless you try.
Yes.
Like if you're sitting, pondering, allowing life to pass you by, and even possibly being upset with other people who are going past you, when you guys you were on the same road. We have different paths, different avenues, but we all have the same goal. Everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to succeed. And everybody is offered the same opportunity. Some people may have a more rockier road, but there's still room. There's still an opportunity to win. And so I would just tell you to try. At least you try. Even if it doesn't work, even if it's taken 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, even if you feel like you're older, that you're too old to start a business. Age, if you are still alive and you are breathing, and you are mobile, you can still succeed. People are starting business, like during the pandemic.
Come on.
People started businesses from home.
Come on.
Your phone is a major source of income.
The
wealth of knowledge out there. I feel like my people from my mom's generation, I feel like we have it good, because we have more resources now. Anything you want to learn, anything you want to know, all you gotta do is Google it, ask Siri, for those who have teen iPhones.
Yeah. Woo-woo.
Anyway, I won't go there.
Woo-woo.
We there's a wealth of knowledge out there. You can learn something on YouTube for free. So there's resources, there's things you can do. There's and get accountability partners. Somebody that can encourage you and not speak poison, but people that push you to greatness. So there's room for everybody. There's room for growth. You can come out of fear. Y'all gonna make it. Like we gotta make it, and just try. It starts with just trying and thinking about the end result. What do you want this to amount to? Do you want to have nothing? Do you want to be empty-handed, or do you want to have a lot of things to present to people? Like, and even if you have children, you want to be an example for your children. Like, no child wants to see their parent bound by fear, because at the end of the day, that may be transferred down to them.
That's good.
So we gotta destroy fear. We gotta break fear and be an example for our brothers, our sisters, our family members, that you can conquer fear.
KeKe, you said a lot of amazing things right there. And you talked about even going back to school. I got 2 degrees in my 40s. I went back to school. I got married originally at 20 years old, had my first daughter at 22, and I was in my last year of college. And then I started being a mom, and then I got into career. I've been life coaching for most of my life. And I had all these certifications, and I was doing fine. But then I was like, you know what? I want to finish what I started. And I was fearful. Because before I was like, I don't need to go back. I'm good. I'm already doing what my purpose is and all of that. But then one day when my oldest daughter went to college, I let her get her first year in. And then I said, you know what? Out the blue, I'm going to go back to school. I was fearful. I was like, am I now even accomplished, and I was an author and all this stuff is what I call it. I was like, what if I'm not smart no more? What if I go there and I'm not doing well? What if I can't get it? What if I can't understand? But you know what? I still went in the first semester, the second semester, and on. I made the dean's list. And I was like, but I was fearful. And I remember the older I got, I was like, I might not even be smart no more. Am I going to grasp it? I'm been in here with all these kids for the most part. Am I going to grasp it? Am I going to be the old lady in the back? You know what I mean? You thinking about all of these things. But what was funny is, all the young people were finished first. And then all the older people decided to go back to school. I looked around one time in the class. I was like, it figures we all in here still trying to do the stats. But we were still there, and we still did it. And I'm sure I wasn't the only older person that was fearful to go back to school, but I did. I went back to school and got 2 degrees in my 40s. And
that's amazing.
Yes, and people like, well, I don't know, but I did it, and I was fearful, and you guys can do it too. Whatever you want to do, KeKe just broke it down to you. Like, don't allow it to stop you from doing it. And she said, even if it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, she went through all of that. You still can do it. And KeKe and I are examples of that. And we're not here saying we have it all together and we're never fearful and we just go through life. No, we're fearful, but we do it anyway. I just want to take a quick break, and I'm going to come back with 11 steps to stronger your faith, and then we're going to end the show. We'll be right back. Are you stuck in an unhappy relationship or a dead-end job? Are you having difficulty moving to the next level in life? Are you looking for love or romance? Are you looking to achieve and accomplish your goals? Are you looking to get more clarity on your vision? Do you struggle with self-esteem? Are you looking for insight, trying to figure out what you're trying to do with your life? These are some of the things I can help you with. Hi, my name is Kendell Lenice, and I'm a certified transformational life coach. For more information about my life coaching services, please visit livingtruelivingyou.com. Now back to the show. All right, welcome back. And KeKe and I were talking during the break. And go ahead and finish what you were saying, even on the break, because I think that's going to inspire somebody.
Yes, just I like talking to people. I like interacting with people, or like speaking in front of crowds. However, leading up to it, like, I may be backstage, sweating, palm sweating, anxiety, my nerves, like my stomach hurt, gotta run to the bathroom. But once I get out there, I'm good because I've conquered it. Like, I'm here to fulfill a purpose, and you can't fulfill your purpose with fear.
Woo! On that note, you can't fulfill. Let's just pause for a minute and tweet that. You can't fulfill your purpose with fear. Y'all tweet that, because that's a good one. All right, so as we come to the end of this show, Faith Over Fear, again, it's more than a hashtag. It's more than a shirt that you wear. It's more than something cute to say and pretend like you all, godly and got it together. And just because you have faith, it doesn't mean that you don't have fear. And it is not false evidence of appearing real, because explain that to a person who is really fearful to get on the plane. It's false evidence of being real. You can get on that plane. They still looking at you, crying, anxiety, blowing in the paper bag. They're still fearful. So you have to have some grace. And like KeKe said earlier, don't shame someone. Try to help them along with it. You'll get further with them if you use yourself as an example, or you validate their fear, because that's what happens. You have to validate where they are and what they feel. Then you can go on to, to talk differently. All right. So I want to give, this is from activated.org. It's a site that says change your life, change your world. This is old, but it still stands true. 11 steps to stronger your faith. So we talk about faith over fear, and I want you to be able to have faith. Whatever you believe, everyone on here listening is not the same religion, or you may be spiritual or not religious at all, but you have faith in something. I have faith in God. I have faith in like all the examples KeKe had, but you have faith in something. So to stronger your faith when it comes to God is spend time in God's word, in his promise, and what he says. Number 2, read accounts of divine intervention. Find out how somebody was maybe fearful or something happened and God's promise helped them. Number 3, put God's promise to the test. See, if you pray for things, does it manifest? Or, if he protects you or wakes you up in the morning, put it to the test. Stay positive. Look at difficulties and obstacles and challenges as opportunities to stretch your faith. Take your problems and questions to God in prayer. If you pray Take it to prayer. Like, I'm fearful. What do I need to do? God, help me from being fearful. Also embrace change. Number 6, major changes or circumstances can be unsettling and uncomfortable, but they can also create an environment for faith to blossom. So sometimes if you're fearful, embrace whatever that is, or embrace the change, and then, trust that the outcome, that God got it. Number 7, pray as though you expect, not merely hope for the best. So pray that you expect God to do it. When you thank God for answering your prayers, even before you see those answers, that's faith. Like, God, I know you're going to do it. Like KeKe was saying, Car, I know you're going to get me to work. I know you're going to get me to this concert. I know you're going to do it. Number 8, keep a prayer log detailing what you prayed for, and then check off the items. Child, I had a prayer journal, and that thing blew my mind. This stuff was coming true, and it was coming true not in 5 minutes, but sometime a year, 2 years. Keep track, and then that way that can strengthen your faith. Number 9, keep a log of the promises claimed and fulfilled. Number 10, make word-based decisions. The more you lean to operate according to principles and promises of God's word, the more God's power you will experience, which in turn increases your faith as you take other needs to Him in prayer. Number 11, testify of God's power to others, telling others about how God helped you and strengthen your faith and theirs. What you think about that list?
Amazing. I really love the one about a journal of prayers, because that should build your faith too. Watching your prayers come true, seeing what you've been asking God to do or asking for actually happen. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Those are amazing.
It really is, because sometimes you're fearful and you think prematurely before it even happens, before you even pray, before you even act and do the works. You are fearful because you have the thought. And sometimes the thought or the idea or what you need to happen is so big that you're fearful before you even pray, before you even think, before you even act. Right. So as we come to an end, I want you to have the last word. What do you think about that? And how can you help somebody that is fearful before they even try? Or pray?
Wow.
Or work?
Oh, okay. So that makes me think about faith and fear. That makes me think about oil and water. You know how they say oil and water don't mix?
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say that the oil represents fear. Fear makes your path slippery, and it causes you to fall or fail. And water represents faith. And when we ride the wave of faith, we are gently guided into our destination. So
come on, KeKe. Yes. Y'all see why I always have her as a host. Y'all see, right? I mean, as a guest, right? Y'all see. I made her the host because she's hosting right now. Go ahead, KeKe.
Yeah, so, I mean, that faith, I feel like fear is the enemy of faith.
Mm.
And you don't like how you feel when you're fearful, because it's uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what's going to happen next. Even with faith, it's the unknown. It's taking a risk. And you just have to be willing. You have to be willing to do it, willing to take a risk, willing to take baby steps. If you're, even if you step 5 steps backwards tomorrow, at least you made some progress the day before. So even if you moonwalking, and then you progressing forward one day, stepping back the next day, at least it's some type of movement. But just don't stay stuck. Don't be paralyzed by fear, and you'll feel better. You'll be healthier. Kendell shared the different side effects of fear, what it does to your body. So be mindful of what happens internally too, and the health risk. So I would say just go out there, try, and give yourself a chance. Trust yourself, trust God, give yourself a chance, and see what happens.
I love it. Well said. That was really well said. And God was moving through you on that one, because that oil and water was perfect. And as you were saying that, I was thinking about, and I'm just coming up with this now, have baby faith. baby faith.
Yes.
Think about a baby who just learns how to walk. They can't even walk, but they don't even know what fear is. They just get up and try to walk. They can't walk. They've never walked before, but they get up and they just go for it. If they fall down, guess what they do? They crawl. And then when they can't, they pull themselves up. And then guess what they do? They start to walk again. They fall. They pull themselves up and they start to walk again. They don't even know what fear is. Fear, we're not born with fear. We're not born. We learn fear by disappointments. We learn fear by past experiences or the words that people put on us or the actions we see someone else have. That's how we learn fear. So I'm not going to sit and tell you that fear is not a real thing, but I'm going to tell you that faith is a real thing. And if you strengthen your faith and you practice being faithful and you start saying, you know what? What is the evidence? What is what am I so fearful about? And if I'm so fearful about that and I have faith, I'm still going to get in the car and I'm still going to drive. And I'm going to have faith that God is going to protect this car. I'm not going to be fearful not to go anywhere. I'm not going to hide in the house. I'm going to trust. I'm going to have faith in this car, but ultimately I'm going to have faith in God. So we can't do both. We really have to decide what we're going to focus on. And I want everybody to focus on having faith. And hopefully when you focus on having faith, some of that fear will dwindle when you remember who you are. And the best way to get over your fear is to think about a time when you were fearful and how you got over it. Because if you did it then, you can do it again. If he did it for you then, he will do it again. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Shine with Kendell Lenice. This is episode 179, season 8 of Shine with Kendell Lenice. If you're able to rate this podcast, please do so. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give me some ratings, send some stars my way, and send and put a comment and tell me what else you liked about this show and what other topics you want to hear. KeKe, please tell the people how they can get in touch with you and tell them quickly about your show.
Yeah, so I can be found on Facebook, Quiandria Willis. And I'm not going to spell. I'm sure it's going to be visible for you because my name is long. Thank God for my mom who named me. Amen.
Hey, Mom.
So my name on Instagram is Specially T, and that is spelled SPECIALLYKE. Myself and my co-host, Nicole, we have a talk show that airs on Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that is on all social media outlets, and it's called Truth Talks TV.
KeKe, thank you so much for being a part of this show. You were amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm always honored. You know, I love to be on a panel with you talking. I love it.
Oh, and I love you there. So we're going to do another panel, y'all, so stay tuned. If you want to see KeKe on some of the panels, go over to YouTube right now and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kendell Lenice. And you could just put her name in, or you can look at some of the panels. It's a playlist for panels, and you'll see KeKe quite a few times. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you strengthen your faith and try to get over your fear. As I said in high school, whatever you fear, conquer it. You are amazing, and you are a conqueror, and you can do it. Don't allow anyone to speak poison into your life. Listen to the people who uplift you and help you get over your fears. Thank you, everybody. Talk to you soon. Subscribe, share, and do everything you do with this podcast to get it out to the world, because if no one hears it, then no one is going to get this message. And I truly, truly believe that someone needs to hear this message today. God bless y'all. Remember, you're a star. Don't allow anyone to dim your shine. Until next time, God bless. Peace.
Shine with Kendell Lenice. Real talk for real people. Let's shine together.
Thanks for listening. This has been a Kenny Lynn production.